Right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling an absolutely massive topic for working families right across the country, the side hustle dilemma here in Ireland. I mean, we'd all love a few extra quid, but is the hassle actually worth it? Let's jump straight into the data.
Okay, so here's the harsh reality of the Irish tax system. You go out, you put in the hard graft, and you pull in €1,000 from a side gig. Happy days, right? Well, hold your horses. If you're already on a standard full-time salary, that extra cash is probably going to be hit at the higher marginal rate. We're talking 40% income tax right out of the gate. And, as we know, the revenue commissioners aren't quite finished with you yet. You've got to tack on PRSI and, of course, the absolute joy that is the Universal Social Charge, or USC. Suddenly, that €1,000 pie gets completely eaten away, and you're realistically taking home maybe 5 to 600 quid. It's a seriously tough pill to swallow when you see practically half your hard earnings just vanish into thin air.
So, let's look at Section 1, the case against the tax trap.
And honestly, this right here is exactly why so many people feel completely trapped. On the one hand, you have the actual real-world cost of a side hustle, which is your time. We're talking about giving up your evenings, sacrificing your weekends, time you could literally just be spending resting on the sofa after a long week, or far more importantly, time spent reading to the kids and just being with your family. And what are you trading that precious time for? Keeping maybe €500 of 1,000 you actually earned? For tired parents who are already stretched to the absolute limit, giving up what little free time they have for what feels like half the reward, yeah, that can feel like a really raw deal.
But look, it's not just the money the tax man takes, is it? It's the absolute dose of the paperwork. It is a total compliance nightmare. The minute you start bringing in that extra bit of side income, you suddenly have this whole new set of legal responsibilities. You might have to register for self-assessment with revenue, you've got to meticulously track every single cent coming in and going out, and then you have to actually sit down and file those tax returns. For a small side hustle, the sheer administrative headache dumped on a family that's already juggling school runs, full-time jobs, and the crazy cost of living right now, well, it can feel completely disproportionate. It's absolutely no wonder people just throw their hands up and say it's not worth the hassle. But let's flip it around. Section 2, the case for extra money is extra money.
So, the really crucial point here is the maths over time. If your side hustle is generating just 500 quid a month straight into your hand, that's after all the tax, the PRSI, the USC is all paid and dusted, well, that compounds. We're talking about a cool €6,000 a year hitting your bank account.
Now, really think about what 6 grand actually means for an Irish family today. It is a massive, vital tool for accelerating your financial position. That's a proper, rock-solid emergency fund sitting there in the local credit union, so you don't instantly panic when the immersion breaks or the car suddenly fails the NCT. Or it's a massive chunk knocked straight off a personal loan or credit card debt. It proves that the hard graft actually does yield real, tangible benefits that can drastically relieve financial stress at home. Yes, the tax reduces the overall amount for sure, but it absolutely does not eliminate the benefit of having that cash.
Moving on to Section 3, maximizing your return. Because look, if you're going to put the late nights in, you need to be smart about it. You can legally and properly make the hustle much more profitable. How? Well, first, you incur direct costs to run your side gig, say buying materials, software subscriptions, or equipment. Then, you can very often legitimately deduct these expenses before your taxable profit is even calculated. And what does that do? It lowers your effective tax rate. You aren't paying that 40% on the gross revenue you took in, you're paying it on the actual profit left over after your valid expenses. So being super organized with your compliance, as annoying as it is to do, is literally exactly how you keep more of your own money.
And this brilliantly illustrates another massive advantage, which is control. For the vast majority of us, our main job salary is pretty much fixed. You might get a tiny bump at the end of the year if you're incredibly lucky, but you don't really have much day-to-day control over it. A side hustle, though, that is scalable and flexible. You are fully in the driver's seat. You can scale it up when you have the energy or pull it right back when the kids are off school for the midterm. So even if the tax takes a portion, you still retain total control over the overall amount you're generating.
Plus, we really have to think long-term here, way beyond just the immediate cash on the hand. A side hustle isn't just about paying the extortionate electricity bill this month. It's about developing new skills and creating future opportunities for yourself. You're effectively building a long-term safety net. What starts out as a tiny little side project at the kitchen table could easily grow into a major income stream down the line, giving you and your family options you simply wouldn't have had otherwise.
Now, I do want to address a huge misconception head-on, one you honestly hear in pubs and work canteens all the time. People always say, sure, the tax makes it pointless. But remember this,
Higher tax only applies because you are earning more money. It's literally a symptom of making more money. The alternative to paying that higher tax is simply choosing not to earn that extra income at all. Avoiding a side hustle just to spite the tax man leaves your family worse off, and honestly, that just doesn't make any financial sense.
Which brings us to Section 4, the real verdict. Ultimately, the whole debate shifts from being a purely financial one to a deeply personal one. The only question that really matters is this: what is your return on time after tax? You have to sit down and weigh the actual financial gain you take home against your quality of life. Is that 500 quid in your pocket worth the hours you spent away from your life to get it? For some, yes, absolutely it is. For others, maybe not so much.
So, to summarize, here is the golden rule for making it work. A side hustle is absolutely worth it in Ireland if it meets 3 specific criteria. Number 1, it has to fit your schedule reasonably well. Number 2, it must generate meaningful income, like enough to actually move the needle on your finances after the tax is paid. And number 3, most importantly, it avoids family burnout. If you can manage it efficiently without sacrificing your health or your family's well-being, that extra income stream is a massive, massive positive. And I want to leave you with this rather bizarre but brilliantly provocative thought from our sources today. Dismissing something entirely because a portion is taken, rather than evaluating what remains, tends to lead to poor decisions, a pattern that, historically speaking, didn't exactly produce optimal outcomes for the German colonial empire either. I know, it's a wildly dramatic historical analogy, but the core truth is spot on. Don't reject the very real gains you can make for your family just because the tax system takes its cut. Focus on what you actually get to keep and ask yourself how that remaining portion can change your life. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.